Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today giving you the lowdown on everything you need to know about the starting island in Dawn of Defiance, the brand new Greek survival themed game. Even if you've not picked the game up yet, give it a watch as it shows pretty much what to expect in the first couple of hours of playing. You have to complete this island to gain access to the mainland, which is a lot bigger, filled with more resources, items to unlock and more, but I still figure it's worth doing a complete guide showing all the unlocks of weapons, gear and how to get all the resources. So there is a tutorial and it does a great job of guiding you through the basics. I'm not going to cover that stuff. The main aim is to get off this island by completing the 3 sites of power. You can't really miss them as they are pretty much guided to you by beacons of light you'll see in the sky, which are obviously stronger when you're looking at night time. At these sites of powers there'll be a statue that you need to place a special stone weapon, and you'll see that as part of your early quests. Once you give the stone weapon to the statue, it then raises the plinth, then you simply go ahead and donate 50 ambrosia dust. So this is how you gain new abilities, maybe even some new recipes for things like flint arrows, and unlock a big door. You'll hopefully come across this doorway that you can't access. This is how you fast travel eventually. So we'll come back to that at the end of the video as there are some big steps to go through first, like activating all 3 sites of power. But here it is on the map, and as you saw there's a little plinth there, 3 of the statues. It's pretty simple really. Go and craft the stone weapons at a crafting bench back at base, and then simply place them at the statues at the sites of power. The stone weapons are really cheap to make and no, you can't use them. I'm going to go over how you get ambrosia dust in a second, but just pointing out that you normally have 3 to 5 guards guiding these sites of power, but you can sneak past quite a few of them, and really trying to get them at range is probably the best way to deal with them. And use the dodge ability more as that doesn't consume as much stamina as holding down for your shield. So how do you get the ambrosia dust? Well basically it's everywhere. You can go ahead and attack some of the wisps and you might get a tiny amount. At night time you can run through the purple flowered little fields and grasslands, gathering up lots that way. You'll see these during the day, but you can't gather any of the dust from them. But the most reliable source is probably going to be defeating some of these guys that you can find either patrolling around at night time or always in caves. The abandoned will give you a random amount, sometimes really small, sometimes a little bit bigger. If you come to a campfire, there's often a chest that you can only open at night time. Maybe some of these give you some ambrosia, but as I've found so far they unlock recipes for items like speed potion instead, and you can only open them at night time. You'll come across some chests that you can open during the day. On the western side of the island you see the huge statue, just by there is one of the chests. Now eventually you will be able to go ahead and mine the big purple crystals of ambrosia in caves that you've come across, but you don't actually get the recipe for the pick until you've got access to that doorway. But this is by far the best way to go ahead and get lots of ambrosia, is harvesting these crystals and then you can refine it at a stone cuts table into the dust later. The 3 abilities that you can get are dash, so that you can move out the way even quicker from enemies or even speed along. The ability to glide, both of these obviously use up your stamina, and you can't glide indefinitely. You will eventually fall, but you won't drop to your death if you do run out of stamina. You'll just go very slowly down to the ground. And then finally is a pretty much ability to not hurt yourself if you do drop from a height, but you also get the ability to go ahead and do a ground pound attack. So unless anything's changed, you need 150 ambrosia dust to go ahead and give to all the statues, and then you're also going to need 400 ambrosia dust to eventually unlock the fast travel. As said, the best way is to go and find the caves, and there's a few of them on the island where you'll be able to go in, defeat some of the abandoned, and then go and harvest with your pickaxe. As said, you don't get that pickaxe until you've gone and opened the big temple door of a cat. That's what we're trying to gain access to. Go ahead and loot the chests inside here, and that's when you get the pickaxe recipe. So it's not just 400 ambrosia dust you need to activate the teleportal. You are going to need 200 stone, 200 softwood, and 50 bone. Out of that lot, the bone might be the hardest thing to get hold of. Well, slightly longer at least. Anyway, you need to go ahead and craft some lures maybe at the hunter station if you haven't been crack shotting every single deer that you've come across. And then simply obviously put them all down at the butcher's block, all your carcasses, and I reckon about 20 kills later you should hopefully have enough bones. Obviously you get bones from boars, wolves and some of the hares as well, but definitely the deers and stuff, the bigger creatures gave me more. As said, the wood and stone, you know what to do, it's easy enough. And now you've got your pickaxe that you made also at your crafting bench, you should be able to go ahead and use that on some of the stone deposits that you might not have been able to interact with beforehand. Stone cutter, or what it's actually called, the grindstone, should be unlocked once you've gone into that room with the teleportal in it and loot the chests. And you get far more ambrosia dust. Don't be too scared to also convert your crystal into ambrosia dust, as eventually you'll be able to sell some items to a trader, and ambrosia dust is worth more than just the crystals themselves. So go and harvest enough of the crystal you found in the caves to get 400 dust and you're done. It's definitely worth exploring the whole island. Alongside the chests that you come across at the sites of power, you may find random ones that give either ambrosia, gold coins that you'll use later to buy stuff from a trader, or weapon schematics, like the power site here. Power site 1 unlocks the sword schematic, the simple sword. Site of power 2, you get the simple shield, and site of power 3, it is the flint arrows. So a bit of a return to combat. It's a bit rough around the edges, but fairly simple to get used to. The best thing to do though is make sure you got a bow and plenty of arrows, and just simply take lots of pot shots at the head. Once they've got shields up, they are a bit tougher to fight, but I would always say try not to rely on your shield, as you don't regain any stamina when you're holding it in a defensive stance. Instead, use your dodge to get around the back of them. Combat is really simple and definitely needs tightening up in the future, but yeah, that's how you take care of them. And hopefully you've been doing the tutorial, as it teaches you how to craft your own potions to get more healing and stuff. It did take me a few seconds to realise though that you can only eat so many foods, as if you eat something new it replaces the old buff, so don't go chomping on all your meats and berries at once. Pay attention to the timers as they're running out, and that way you can not waste anything. Likewise goes for the potions. You can't have a stamina potion and a health potion active at the same time, so you have to choose which one you want. So before you go to activate the portal with all of them resources that you've managed to grind and get, I would say try and get hold of the simple gear. Make the simple shield, the simple spear. I found the sword wasn't that great. The spear was definitely a lot better and quicker at dealing with enemies. And if you can upgrade your armors to go ahead and get the actual leather gear, even better, but you do need quite a lot of that leather, so it might be a bit more challenging to get all of it, but otherwise just use what you've got. By the time you leave the Star Island, you will or should have access to 3 different tiers of armor: primitive, hide and leather, and obviously primitive and simple weapons. When it comes to armor, it's always the chest piece that you should go for, as it gives the greatest amount of armor protection, followed always by the legs or bottoms, then the helmet, and then lastly the bracers. Obviously if you've got resources, go ahead and craft these rather than wait until you get more creatures. It is more expensive to craft a chest piece, but it's definitely going to be worth it in terms of armor. Now I didn't use the club much, but there is a simple version of it, but you can only unlock it by going ahead and finding the 3 special, I guess, polo plimps. They're the ones that you have to donate 20 ambrosia dust to. You can't really miss them. One's on the northwest near the lake, one's on the east coast of the island. And by the time you get your glide ability, you can go up the mountain above the doorway to the teleportal room, and you'll find the 3rd one. This unlocks the simple club recipe. It's important I'm pointing these out because you need 15 of these to get a later reward once you get to the mainland. So make sure you tick these 3 off, otherwise you're going to have to backtrack over to the starter island. And since we're showing off all the unlocks here, don't forget to get this simple spear recipe that you can find pretty much in the middle of the map in this small pool of water at these ruins. It's a lot easier to craft and get than the other stuff since there's no guards around. And last maybe chest to go and find is take a look as soon as you spawn in on the right hand side. You should see a giant tree on a cliff. If you manage to climb up that cliff, there will be a gold chest with some ambrosia in it. And don't forget also about the nighttime chests that only open at nighttime, as these often have locks as well. At the crossroads, pretty much close to the northern part of the map, you will find potions for woodcutting, gives you a bonus to chopping speed. Another one of the night chests on the western side and northwestern side by that giant statue, that unlocks a sprinter's potion. And if you want to go for more of a poison build, if you do head over to the night chest, that is on the eastern side of the coast, you'll get access to poison potion, which obviously gives poison damage to your weapons, just here. And last thing I will say about some of the challenges that you'll see under your quests, definitely complete them, as they'll unlock actual recipes like this armor protection potion when you kill 10 of the abandoned. And just for a little bit of fun, if you really wanted to, you can build a bridge to the mainland, but you are going to miss out on a ton of recipes if you try skipping opening up the teleport room. Last few things I will dish out advice wise: don't build a massive base here on the starter island. Go absolutely to the mainland first. There's plenty more resources you're going to need, like copper and clay, to get more advanced stuff. Do try and build your very first cabin, as the tutorial wants you to gain progress right next to the doorway rather than anywhere else on the island. And that would go the same for when you go ahead and make another base when you get outside, as it's pretty much slap bang in the middle. Or as long as you don't mind, keep teleporting through, as you can come back to the island if you really don't want to give up your base that you might have already built. There's quite a few different things to gather. Flax, berries, they'll come across them pretty easily. Spartium is a yellow plant that I found more inland around some of the crags and rocks. And I do think it's worth pointing out that you won't find clay, copper or cotton until you've gone to the mainland. So for some reason you do unlock some of the recipes earlier once you get the simple hammer, not the primitive one, and that gives you access to more build items, but you can't craft them because you need them free materials I just mentioned. So don't waste your breath trying to find them resources on the starter island. Also, while you're using the glide ability, absolutely spam the dodge button and you can go places a lot quicker. I left this right to the end, but basically you are going to have to face off against a mini boss as you go and unlock the portal once you've got all the resources. It's not the first time you step in, you'll get the recipe for the simple hammer so you can build more items, but only when you go and activate the portal itself. Now I'm not going to lie, I presume he gives you some sort of big reward, maybe some gold or ambrosia. But he basically killed me when I was just about getting him to the end, and when I returned he was actually gone, he wasn't there. So maybe a bug or a glitch at the moment, or maybe it's just meant to be like an extra little challenge. But yeah, you may gain something useful if you do kill him first time, so be prepared. And there you go, that's the complete guide to the starting island. Every unlock that you can get, every piece of gear, weapon that you can unlock, best places to go and explore without hopefully treating you like you're a 4-year-old. Well, maybe a little bit like that. I'm going to have much more advanced guides on Dawn of Defiance. Been enjoying the game for sure. Go and check out my Let's Plays and see how I actually did this live. Well, in a live environment. And I'll be streaming it for sure in the next couple of days as well. My name's Jade. I'll see you ratbags later.